I'm Dr. John Azar-Dickens with Enforce Health, and I'm here with Coach Jay Stevenson from Go Running, Go Shoe Store, the shoe box.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little bit today about fitness trackers, watches, things like that people are interested in. A lot of people ask us about questions about that. I'm a big Garmin fan and use the Garmin every day with fitness stuff. People ask, should I get a fitness tracker like that? Should I get just use my regular watch, use an iWatch? How does it work for tracking those things, Fitbits and all that kind of thing? So we're just going to talk a little bit about that today. Jay's going to share with us his expertise on Garmin products and kind of give us an idea of the different kind of products and what levels and price points and things.
One of the things that I think is important with when you're deciding fitness tracker, Garmin watch, what you're going to do is to realize that whatever you do, it's only going to be important to you versus you. Like, it's really not important to compare what you're doing versus someone else.
Right.
So if you do like a Fitbit or Garmin or whatever, knowing what you've done in the past and increasing it and having a goal that's associated with what you're doing, it's just giving you another tool to track things and find out where you're currently at so you can improve.
I think a lot of it has to do with the data that you're wanting and what you're going to do with it. If
Right.
you're going to use steps alone, seems to me Fitbit,
Totally fine.
iWatch, those kinds of things are totally fine. That's all you want to know. If you want to know things like heart rate along the way of your exercise routine, if you want to know calories burned, you can build in different kinds of
Or
data.
if you want to know, like we were talking about earlier, the Fitbit is tracking your steps and it's estimating based on your height and leg length how far you've traveled. So it doesn't actually have a GPS connection in it, whereas a Garmin is going to be much more accurate. So if you're running an interval or a race or trying to run a certain distance per day, then the GPS is definitely going to be more effective than the Fitbit is.
And isn't that always also going to allow you to have it uploaded to a software system that then keeps all that data for
Right.
you?
Right.
You can look at it, review it,
You can
use it however
sync
you
it
want
with
to.
your phone. And one thing that a lot of people don't understand is when you sync it to your phone, a lot of people think that you get the data automatically on your phone, but actually your phone has to be close enough to the watch in order for the Bluetooth to sync up. So it's kind of nice. You can leave your watch or your phone in the car, and then when you get in the car, it'll automatically download if you have it set up right.
Right. And then the question is, do you want to be that technical? Will you actually use the data? If you're not going to use the data and you're not interested in that data, there's no need to buy the watch. If
Right.
you just want,
Right.
how many steps am I taking in a day? I think iPhone or iWatches do calories. I'm not exactly sure, but that's even an estimate because you're not wearing a heart rate monitor of any sort. It's
Right.
doing it on I think it's going off the wrist. But if you want to get up into fancier stuff, you might want to think about doing one of the Garmin products or one of the other products. But you sell exclusively Garmin, right?
Yeah, the goal with Garmin, Fitbit, anything you use exercise tracking is you want to get all the features that you're actually going to use. So I always try to get people into the watch level that matches what features they're going to use. So I'll show you a few examples. So I've got a few watches here. This is the Garmin 25, and this is your basic watch, no heart rate. It does your steps, it does your distance, and gives you just a basic readout on distance and time that you've covered.
What about GPS stuff?
It is a GPS watch, so it will be accurate, and it also does sync with your phone, and it'll show up a text message on your phone. It'll automatically download. It does all those features.
So that's the Forerunner 25, and
Yes.
that's a price point of what about?
That one's $139. And
So
then,
if that's all you wanted, though, you might think about just using your iWatch, right? Because a lot of people use iWatches, and you get a whole lot more fancy technology with an iWatch than you do with that.
whatever level you're at, definitely stick with that level.
And that does not do heart rate.
No.
Okay.
So this is the Garmin 35, and it does wrist-based heart rate and all the other features that the Garmin 25 does, and it has a bike feature, a swim feature, like a triathlon
So it's a
watch
multi-sport.
feature. Yeah, you can use it, but it does not do like swim stroke like your 920 does.
XT, yeah.
And that's $199. And then this is the watch that I use. It's the 235, and it has wrist-based heart rate. Oh, actually, I have the 630 that doesn't have wrist-based, but most of the features are the same. This one has wrist-based heart rate. It also tracks cadence, so steps per minute, and it has a lot of running features. So I think it also does ground contact time and vertical oscillation. So this one is getting really, really technical. Lots of data that you can pull from it, and it's $329. If you're not a techie person and you're not going to follow all those extra data points, then I would steer you clear of the 235 and do either the 35 or the 25, or just a Fitbit fitness tracker if you don't really care about your distance being accurate, and if you just want to know your steps. Another cool feature with all three, or the 35 and the 235, is it monitors your sleep quality too.
Okay.
So if you can wear it while you're sleeping, it gives you that additional data point as well.
Yeah, so the research on the Fitbit has been, from what I read, not great as far as accuracy. Also, but there's some articles we posted on Enforce Health about people buying Fitbits and then only using them for a short period of time, seeing the same data over and over again, just putting them down.
Yeah.
And just not using them. So, so it really comes down to, what do you want data-wise? What will you use? Are you doing multi-sport? Are you swimming and cycling in addition to running? Because that's going to make a big difference. And if you're one of those people that just really likes the tech stuff and you want tons of data, you can even go higher than what we have here. I have a 920 XT. I like to keep all the data and like to review it. I want multi-sport. I even add it. You can put weightlifting in there. You can put, if you do some other sports, basketball, whatever, you can build a database for that. But that's where you start getting really, it's technical, and there's a lot of data.
And then the other thing is, what size of watch works for you. So if you do have a really small wrist or a really big wrist, you might be able to fit a smaller face or a bigger face comfortably. Mine I wear as an everyday watch as well. So I wear it to run in, wear it to work out in, wear it to do pretty much everything in, and I'm comfortable with it. So my compliance to get all the data is much better.
Yeah.
Rather than somebody who maybe is not comfortable with a watch on, you're not going to wear it all day.
Right. And this is the 920. It's got a big face. I have a little wrist, but you get used to it. And once you get used to it, it's not that big of a deal. But I would steer people clear from it if they're not going to really want a ton of data, because it can sometimes be even overwhelming what you get.
Yeah.
It's a lot more expensive. I think it runs in the 4s. You could probably find it in the 3s at this point, because it's been around a while. But again, if you're not going to use multi-sport and you're not going to do a lot of data, I wouldn't waste the money. If you're just getting into running, you're not exactly sure what you want, I would probably wait, wouldn't you think, until you see how long you stick with it and you determine what kind of data you want.
Yeah, I think it is important, though, to know what you're doing. So whether that is timing yourself with your phone or another app or something like that, I mean, that's really important. So if you know where you've been, then you can map out where you want to go. So I've always been a huge proponent of tracking things, writing things down, keeping a log of sorts. It's just the Garmin watches do the log for you.
Which is nice. You don't have to carry on the notepads, because I used to write all that down too. And the other good thing is, if you invest in a watch, then maybe it will motivate you to stick with it longer, because you've got the money in the watch. If you're looking at calorie counts, if you're dealing with weight stuff and you're trying to manage calories in versus calories out, the Garmin, the ones with heart rate, will also track calories for you throughout the day, throughout your exercise, what have you. And so that can be, I think, very useful for some people who are kind of really keeping a close eye on what they're taking in versus what they're burning. It's not going to give you basal metabolic rate or anything at that level, but it will at least give you a good, pretty accurate reflection of what you've burned during the exercise you've been involved with. And so that can be helpful.
Yes.
So, depending on what you want to spend and how many features, if you want fancy, high tech, all the really cool gadgets that it sends text and it does all these other things, you probably want to go with the iPhone. And if you're just looking for basic, or the app watch, if you're looking for basic information. if you want a really good fitness tracker and that's what you want to be paying attention to, I would think Garmin, one of these levels, is probably your better choice.
The one thing about Garmin that I've seen over the years is when another company comes out with a new technology, Garmin's actually usually last. And what happens is somebody will come out with the latest and greatest, and it breaks and it doesn't work properly. And then Garmin, by the time they come out with it, they perfect it. And so that's what I've just noticed about the quality of what they do.
Right. Well, and I've used Garmin for a long time, and I've had great success with them. They last a really long time. For us in law enforcement, they get roughed up and get bumped and things, and I have dropped them. I've had all kinds of situations with them where they have really lasted for years, and so it's a good product as far as longevity is concerned too.
Yep.
So give you something to think about if you are considering possibly using a watch to track fitness. Definitely recommend you consider the Garmin in these different levels. Just depend, again, whatever the data is you want. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.